So one of the longest running rumors in the world of video games has of course been this Nintendo Switch Pro, the new Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo Switch revision. And of course all of this was started by Bloomberg. Now Bloomberg said that this was going to have a 7-inch OLED screen. They talked about this system a lot, and the latest thing was that it was going to be revealed before E3 of 2021 and then come out around September or October. Well, of course E3 came and went. There was no Nintendo Switch revision announcement, so I started to lose faith in this thing a bit. I started to think, well, if Nintendo waits too long, is there even a point in upgrading the Nintendo Switch instead of just working on a successor to the system? Well, I guess Bloomberg was right, because this morning a brand new Nintendo Switch model was announced. It will be coming out this year, and there's definitely a lot of stuff to unpack in this. So if this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, be sure to like and share the video. But let's talk about the Nintendo Switch OLED model, which will be coming out this year, and what it brings to the table. So in true Nintendo fashion, instead of doing this at E3 or making a big hubbub about it and making a big presentation, they literally just announced it this morning. They put up a YouTube trailer on their YouTube channel. They also updated their website to talk about this system, and that's how they announced a brand new Nintendo Switch. And it's like, you guys are nuts, man. There had been so much talk about this even recently at the latest shareholders meeting. Some of the shareholders were a bit disappointed that a new Nintendo Switch was not announced before E3 because of all the rumors that had been circulating. And it's like, well, why wouldn't you just show this at E3 if you're going to do it literally weeks later? But I mean, Nintendo is going to Nintendo. Well, this 2-minute and 36-second trailer went up, like I said, and then they updated a website to give us all the information. And so we're just going to go over this information, talk about what I like about it, and talk about maybe what I'm a bit disappointed about. So it starts out, and you can tell by the name of the screen having the OLED technology that this was going to be a major focus. Now that's something we had talked about before on the channel, because OLED screens are better than LCD screens. You get better color clarity, you get better crispness, you get better visual density as well with an OLED screen. So a gentleman picks up his Nintendo Switch Pro and he's playing Metroid Dread on it. So that's obviously kind of cool. You know, they're obviously trying to promote Metroid Dread as much as possible. This is going to be a very interesting game for Nintendo to see how well it sells. But the 7-inch OLED screen is indeed a reality. And of course, we currently have a 6.2-inch screen on the standard Nintendo Switch and also the Nintendo Switch Lite. So this is definitely a bigger screen and something that a lot of people have been wanting with this. And of course, it comes with the better visual style because of the color density and whatnot. So the actual system itself is not really bigger. It's actually just having less of a bezel around the screen. So the form factor and the size of the Nintendo Switch is actually the same as it stands right now. So I think that's a smart decision. You know, people that want to upgrade to this OLED model of the Nintendo Switch, they can use all of their Nintendo Switch accessories, their carrying cases and whatnot with this without having to upgrade to something specifically for the Nintendo Switch OLED model. Another redone thing is the kickstand for the Nintendo Switch OLED model. Now, in the previous Nintendo Switches, you had that little rinky-dink kickstand, which, I mean, worked, but it also broke off for a lot of people. Now, instead, Nintendo has actually done a kickstand that extends across the whole base of the system. So you could have it at a lot of different angles. You can have sort of like a really deep one if you want to, like, I don't know, look down on your Nintendo Switch like you're better than it or something like that. But I do think the versatility of the kickstand Switch is a lot better. You can also see a new Joy-Con color with this. It has sort of that gray Joy-Con color, which is something that we have sort of seen in some mock-ups leading up to this. I don't know if that was just a coincidence or maybe they did know something about this. And then also mentioned is enhanced audio. So I guess it's going to have better speakers in it than when you're playing your Nintendo Switch in handheld mode right now. This enhanced audio, they didn't really go into depth or anything like that with this to sort of say, you know, what sort of audio this was going to have, what sort of improvements were going to be done with it. It just says enhanced audio. So you kind of have to take it for what it is right now until we get some more additional details about the audio specs themselves. Then of course we have the docked mode, and in docked mode we have a new Nintendo Switch dock, and you can see that it has a wired LAN port, finally, because let's be realistic, a lot of Nintendo Switch games, you know, the wireless connection does work, but if you're playing something competitively, you want to have the best online experience humanly humanly possible with this. So a wired port will definitely help with that. It's something that a lot of people were kind of puzzled that it wasn't included in the standard Nintendo Switch dock to begin with, and it looks like the dock itself has been revised. Instead of just being a flap that you pull down, you actually pull this off to the side, and it looks like you can actually take off this completely as well. And then we see a lot of footage of people playing it in docked mode, but we didn't get any sort of details as to any upgrades done when the system is in docked mode. Now that was something that we talked a lot about on this channel. According to Bloomberg, the system was going to have up to 4K capabilities when you're playing it in docked mode. There was also rumors about DLSS technology to enhance the games that you currently have, but none of this was actually mentioned in the trailer. And then if you head over to the website, we can get more information on this system. This system will be available on October 8th. So yes, right before the holiday season, I feel like a lot of Nintendo Switch owners that currently own a Nintendo Switch are probably going to be wanting to pick this up. I mean, obviously I want to get this on day one, and we have an MSRP of $349.99. So they managed to do this system below the $400 price point, being a $350 system. And we can see that the dock is that gray color that goes along with the Joy-Cons as well. And we get a little bit more information. We see the same stuff that we have sort of talked about, but there is 64 gigs of internal storage now, where the standard Nintendo Switch only has 32 gigs. So that's an improvement. Obviously, people are still going to use micro SD cards because 64 gigs, you know, still isn't really all that much. But at least any Nintendo Switch game that releases, as far as games we know about, will actually be able to utilize that 64 gigs without having to use a micro SD thing. Scrolling down, there's some basic more information, some pictures of it as well. But it's interesting because they have not said anything about the system in docked mode beyond the whole LAN adapter thing. So is there anything more to this system? Are there any more secrets as far as the system hardware is concerned when it comes to playing the system in docked mode? Because that's what a lot of people wanted. You know, handheld is handheld, handheld is fine, but when it comes to docked mode, they wanted some enhancements. But it definitely seems like Nintendo is focusing on the handheld side of this system, with the OLED model being the name of the system. Like, you couldn't come up with a better name of it. You couldn't come up with something more interesting than the Nintendo Switch OLED model. So obviously this is very big news. This is the Nintendo Switch revision that we have been talking about for so long, but I like that there's still some sort of mystery with it. I like that we still don't know, you know, the actual technical specs of it. Is it going to have up to 4K capabilities? Is it going to have DLSS technology? I'm sure we will learn about that more as the weeks go on. But yeah, October 8th. So this is coming up very quickly for $350. And I think this will definitely help bolster Nintendo Switch system sales as we go on, because introducing a new model for a, you know, essentially a premium model for people who want something a little bit more out of their Nintendo Switch, now they can actually get that. And I think that's a big win for Nintendo. Like I said, I'm definitely very interested to see if there are any upgrades that are not mentioned with this. I feel like if it had the 4K stuff, you would hear Nintendo say something about that. We could see the box of this system as well. It doesn't seem like there's any sort of branding on here that says, you know, 4K or anything like that. So I feel like if this did have 4K, you would have something on the box about it. And there's two different colorways you can get. You can get the Nintendo Switch with the white Joy-Cons. I don't know, it looks more gray to me, but Nintendo doesn't really do well with colors. And then of course the standard red and neon blue Joy-Con set. But I'm definitely very excited for this. It's nice to see this actually come to fruition. It's nice to see, you know, it actually does exist, this new Nintendo Switch model, this new Nintendo Switch revision. I do hope that there is some sort of stuff additionally with dock mode that they just haven't talked about yet. But even as this stands, this will definitely be something I upgrade to, because I play my Nintendo Switch a lot in handheld mode, and I think that OLED screen is definitely going to help out with a lot of things. So yeah, there we go. The Nintendo Switch Pro, the Nintendo Switch revision. It does exist. It's real. It's coming out in October. It's $350. Like, just absolute craziness this morning. So let me know in the comments section down below what you think about this system. Are you a bit disappointed? Did you want a bit more? Do you think that there is a chance that there is additional features in this system that Nintendo just hasn't quite talked about yet? Or do you think that this is it? And as it stands, will this be something that you want to upgrade to? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like and share the video as well, because obviously this is pretty big news. And as always, I will catch you guys on the next video. Later.